Hi everyone, this is Kassie and these are the weekly tarot scopes for the week of September 27 to October 3. Today we are using the Kawaii tarot deck, inspired by the Japanese art style found in comics and fashion, and as it says on the box, it's a card deck of magic and cute. It features pastel colors and it comes with a guidebook to help you interpret your cards. So let's see what the predictions for this week are for all signs. We start with Aries as always. After last week's Empress, you now have the Hierophant Aries. What has started growing last week, this week is taking a more official form. You made some plans last week and now those plans are getting an official approval in some way and they are taking shape. It will be a very smooth and natural progression from one stage to another. And the Hierophant is about making official agreements, signing contracts, and if you've done your homework, those plans will manifest as a successful outcome. Now, matters of education, you may have to deal with organizations or institutions. The Hierophant symbolizes all those things, big companies too. So it's very good if you're looking for a job and you're targeting a big organization or company. The Hierophant often symbolizes a group of people who can support you with your goals. In relationships, the Hierophant shows someone who's being rigid and stubborn and set in their ways, very possibly an earth sign, and they may not be able or willing to consider your ideas, your plans. They have their own ideas, they have their own goals, and they won't be swayed so easily. Now, when it comes to relationships, last week you must have dealt with emotional aspects of a relationship, your emotional connection and how it's working or not, your bonding, sexuality. This week is mostly about the practical aspects of it, like how to make it work in the practical sense, in the real world. If there have been some practical obstacles or practical reasons that make a relationship difficult, especially when it comes to how it's perceived in a society or how others see it. If, for instance, it's an unconventional relationship and you may have to find practical solutions, and those solutions will probably be found in traditional way of doing things, in traditional methods, as that's what the Hierophant represents. You may have to issue a document, or there might be someone who you need to consult, an expert. In any case, the Hierophant is a protective influence, and that's why it will be good to listen to what another has to say, to listen to someone who's more experienced than you are and can give you valuable advice that will help you either in a relationship or in a professional situation. For Taurus, it's the Ace of Swords. You will get clarity this week. Things that have been confusing before, this week are getting clear. You may have an idea, an aha moment that will magically, instantly almost, resolve a problem, or something you felt uncertain or confused about, and you will probably have a talk with someone, a very enlightening discussion, and you will both open your cards. There might be more than one person involved that will participate in that meeting or discussion, and by opening your cards you will be able to make some sort of new beginning, to establish a new basis, especially when it comes to communications. There will be very clear communications this week, or communication will resume or will be restored, especially with someone who wasn't very communicative or you weren't very communicative. The Ace of Swords, as all swords, is often a disruptive energy, and your decisions may have that disruptive element. You may decide, for example, that you had enough of something or someone, and you will decide to cut them off. Cutting cords with the Ace of Swords is very common and very acceptable, and maybe that has to do with the King of Cups that we got last week. And the King of Cups can be a very supportive and helpful presence, but at the same time he can be very passive and slow moving, and you may decide that you had enough of them and to cut them off or take some distance, and perhaps this king is actually the person you will have that talk. They may even share a piece of information or a truth that you were not aware of, and that will determine your decision. Don't make any decisions unless you communicate with another. Keep in mind that communications is your big weapon this week. For you Gemini, we have the Nine of Pentacles. Last week must have been a little disruptive for you, especially when it comes to communications. We had the Page of Swords then, and there might have been a misunderstanding, a conflict, an argument even. But now this week with the Nine of Pentacles, it appears that you are coming back to your center and you're finding your balance again, because the Nine of Pentacles is very strong, a very solid card that suggests you will feel satisfied with what you have achieved and that you are happy with the stage that you are at. The Nine of Pentacles indicates material benefits and material rewards, but you could also find that you proved to be right about something, and others can see that finally, and you may even receive an apology from someone or an explanation. You now know what you want, you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and that's why you can deal with the situation in a way that's more you. You don't have to pretend that you are someone else in order to get what you want or in order to persuade someone to do something. You are very determined and very confident about yourself, and that shows in every aspect of your life now, professional, personal. And you will see that as this vibe changes from the uncertainty of the Page of Swords to the confidence of the Nine of Pentacles, you will see that the way others respond and the way the universe responds also changes. And that will be a big relief for you, especially if you were not sure which direction to take before. Earlier this month, around 5 to 7 September, there must have been an event or issue that will require your attention again, and within 9 to 10 days from now, you will be able to close this matter eventually, possibly in a very successful way. The Strength is a card for Cancer. There's an ongoing process, a situation that's still unfolding, probably more slowly than you wanted or expected. The Strength is a slow card, and the message is that what you're trying to do will require patience, determination, persistence, and you need to somehow keep control of the energies. And by energies I mean situations or even other people that are involved. So you have to somehow calibrate or recalibrate those influences, your actions, in a way that you are patiently and consistently heading towards your end goal, but without coming across as too demanding or too controlling and aggressive. There will be a point that will need your attention, in the sense that there might be a challenge that you need to keep under control. There's always a challenge with the Strength card. And the trick here is to deal with that challenge in a way that does not bring unwanted results. And the way to actually bring those unwanted results is to pressure things, to make things appear more difficult than they are, or to push a situation so much that the only thing you'll get is resistance and nothing else. It's a very fine line, so if you're dealing with someone who's stubborn And remember, there's a lot of holding back with the Strength, holding back feelings, holding back thoughts, and the other person or the other persons will not be willing to share much. And imagine it's like a game where one makes a move and the other responds to that move. The Queen of Pentacles you got last week was an Earth card, while the Strength is a Fire card. So there will be more actions, more activity this week. Fire cards are actions anyway. From the stage of planning, you are getting to the stage of acting. But those actions need to be controlled. Don't overdo it. Don't make impulsive moves. It will be problematic at this stage and will cause resistance. Events between 23 July to 22 August may come to a culmination or completion this week. So try to observe or remember what happened around that time, and you may get some valuable insights from the energies that played out then. The Six of Pentacles is for Leo. The Six of Pentacles represents a deal you will make, an agreement or an exchange. And since you had the Two of Pentacles last week, the Two of Pentacles involved a decision that you had to make in order for things to move forward. This process might have started around May, early May, and since this card can show a 6-month time frame, perhaps in all those months something was being developed, but now you finally arrived at the point when you and another, or the people involved in this situation, can all benefit in an equal manner. The Six of Pentacles is common ground that you find with another. It could be professional in many cases. The Six of Pentacles in general represent professional or financial matters primarily. So if you have been dealing with such issues, expect that this week you will come to an agreement with someone, but it could be also in a relationship that you find some common threads and move together having a common goal, common direction. It's also about helping each other in a very balanced way. With the Two of Pentacles last week, you may have come to the conclusion that there was a situation you could not sustain for too long. It could not go on for too long, and you made a decision that somehow opened up a new direction for you. Pentacles represent stability, and that means with every step you take, the situation becomes more stable and there is potential for a long-lasting agreement or deal. And that's the only point you may have to be aware of. It's the other side of the coin, that whatever you're trying to build now will last for a long time. And if you're not ready or willing for such a long-term commitment, you may want to make some adjustments so that you have a way out, so to speak, if you decide at some point, say in 5 months or a year, that this is not what you want. For Virgo, we have the Three of Wands. You are waiting for something, an answer, a response. You've taken actions and now you're waiting for the results. The Three of Wands is a much better energy than the Five of Pentacles you got last week. The Five of Pentacles can be very frustrating, especially if it involved something that was lost, missing, or something that was removed from your life and you felt upset, but now things are starting to move forward again in a faster pace. You will see that developments start happening and things that have been stuck. Now you can expect you will start seeing some action from others too, and you too will feel more ready. It's possible that you will receive news from abroad, from foreign countries, or there will be a connection to foreign places. You may decide to organize a trip, or there will be news about traveling. Also, if you are in a long-distance relationship, you will plan something with your partner. You will be making plans together, maybe to meet up or something along these lines. So this is definitely a much better week, better than the previous one. Your moods will improve too. you will feel more optimistic, and you will receive positive news you've been expected for a while now. Also, if you have been in a dilemma or you were trying to make a decision, expect that this week a third element will appear, something that was not there or you could not see before. And now this element or person, it could be a person too, shows up and in some way influences a situation. Events that happened around the end of March or beginning of April may be repeated now in some way, or you will be given the opportunity to respond in a different way. And as a result, you will be able to produce different results too. In case what you did back then didn't work the way you wanted it to work. For Libra, we have the Moon. The Moon is a very intense emotional energy. With the Moon, emotions come and go like flood. And as you can imagine, that could be a little overwhelming at times. So don't be surprised if you have mood swings this week. The Moon is I know that some readers don't agree with that, but for me the Moon is a romance card. But it's the stage of romance when you don't know what's going on, you don't know what to expect. And for that, all kinds of insecurities arise. So for instance, you like someone and you have no idea if they have another or if they are interested in you. Or if you are in an established relationship, you may have commitment fears or insecurities, difficulty to trust another. All those issues will come out this week. But what I like about this card is that last week you had the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man can be a paralyzing energy, an energy that does not allow you to move, to make decisions, to progress. But now it appears that you are waking up again, and by waking up, all kinds of intense energies are stirred. So don't be afraid of the energy of this moon, because it stirs the waters, so to speak. The moon is a water card. Once the dust settles down and the waters clear up, you will then come to a new clarity. The moon has a 1 month cycle, and from now until around end October, for another 28 days give or take, you will be dealing with the current issues, and you will see very different phases of it, all the different aspects of it. So try to see this as a time when you can see things from all different angles and decide if emotionally you can find a certainty, a balance within yourself, and transcend those fears, analyze and resolve those unhealthy patterns that there may be repeating in your relationships. The moon is a subconscious, and thinking again about the Hanged Man last week, it seems that you are now doing deep inner work, and that will soon be reflected on the outside world, on your reality. And like I said, you will start seeing significant signs in the coming 4 weeks. The moon represents your intuition. This is a good time to trust your intuition. And if you don't know how to do that, start by putting your attention to the energy of your body, to how you feel about a certain person, about a situation, and with practice, you will start trusting your inner feelings more and more. For Scorpio, we have the 6 of Cups. This week you may visit familiar places, or you will meet with people that you have a very strong bond, people from the past, like childhood friends or relatives, and the past seems to play a very important role this week, which can play out in a number of different ways. It's possible that a past matter or issue will require your attention this week, and that means it could be an ex who's resurfacing, or a job that you applied in the past and you were rejected, and now somehow the same opportunity or an opportunity that's connected to that one will show up again, and that will make you feel really good. Now, what you need to be aware about this energy is that, especially in the case of an ex that's returning, The Six of Cups foretells that the relationship can be as good as before, but it can't really grow and get to the next level. So it basically remains as it was before in the past. And maybe that's something you need to take into account before you decide to go ahead with it. And that's especially true in the case of someone that appears and disappears again and again like a pattern. So it's important that you use the experience, the knowledge you gained in the past about this situation, and it's crucial to trust what you know. The Six of Cups is everything that's familiar, known, and that's why the pull towards this energy, situation or person may be very strong. Astrologically, the Six of Cups is associated with the Sun in Scorpio, and it points to the coming period between 2 and 11 November, when it seems that you will have some very significant developments involving personal relationships. And if your birthday falls in those days, there's an extra significance for you, and it basically tells you that this is a time period when you should make yourself a priority. The Six of Cups is the card of nostalgia, which means that there's a risk that we over-idealize the past and all those good memories, which is okay to a certain point. But the problem with that is that if you dwell too much in the past, that can be very disempowering for the present. Last week you had the Four of Swords and slow and passive card without much action, but now wind is changing a little. The Six of Cups remains a passive card too, as it's a water card, but it does show more activity than the Four of Swords, and I expect that things will start to move a little, but you will still need to be patient. For Sagittarius, the card is the Empress. There is a strong presence in your life, someone who's probably an earth sign, Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, and this person seems to be the one who's setting the rules, either in a personal or a professional relationship. This person will play on their terms, and if you want to change them or to change their mind, it will be very hard to do so, because they may be a little stubborn, and you will somehow have to find your role in this connection in a way that can be satisfying for you too. Now you are a fire sign, you are a very strong personality, and that could cause some clashes, some power struggles. And you had the Two of Wands last week, which is about dominating another and having your own way. So what we see this week is the culmination of last week's power struggles, because under the energy of the two, you can still consider another's opinion or point of view. But the Empress represents a later stage, when things have progressed somehow and they are heading toward the final stage, the final form. Yet there's still room for adjustments, because the Empress is a passive card and allows for growth and allows for other elements to come into play, which means that some flexibility is still there and you can use that to your advantage. The Empress is good news in love. It's a love card and shows feelings, connection, sexual energies, and it favors progress in general. If, for instance, you're expecting a document to be issued, a license or a permission to do something, there might be some positive developments, probably around Wednesday. This is definitely a more decisive energy than the Two of Wands. Under the influence of the Two of Wands, you were indecisive, while the Empress is a very different energy. You will feel decisive, supported, and the uncertainty of last week seems to be transformed, and now you know where you stand. For Capricorn, we have the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is the time when you get what you want, time you win. The Six of Wands is called the Lord of Victory, and it's a very interactive energy, as all sixes, which means that it can't exist without the support of other people. And you have reached this stage because there are those who believed in you, those who supported you, and you will feel very good this week. There will be a moment when you will know that your efforts came to fruition. I expect that you will receive a praise for a job well done, a reward, something that will be given back for what you gave out. The Six of Wands indicates strong attraction. Someone will show you that they feel very connected to you, very attracted to you. They will show that they admire you, they approve of you, and that will be reciprocated. So you too will give back compliments and you will feed off each other energetically. There will be a lot of passion and sexual energy. The fire of this six is very strong, very intense. We are looking at a very balanced situation, and it's not very different from the energy of last week's when you had the Three of Cups, meaning that last week you made plans and you must have found some support or people that helped you, and that has put the wheels in motion and triggered some very positive changes or events for you. It appears that you made a very good choice of people. This week, life will lift you up in a very positive way. Things that were stuck or slow before will start to move and to speed up as you move from last week's water passive energy to the fire energy of the Six of Wands. Events that happen in early August may be repeated now, or the energies and the results of those events may be felt now. Think about what was happening around that time, and if you can get some sort of insight or lesson from the energies of those days. For Aquarius, we have the Devil. Last week and this week too are very significant, and events that will take place this week will set the tone for the future in a very decisive way. And I'm saying that because you had another major arcana card last week. It was the Emperor, a very strong energy, very active. So you must have had some significant developments last week, and now you must have a solid frame that will define a situation. The Devil does show some challenges, especially when it comes to material issues, money, or something that you want to have, or even there might be something that you can't let go of, something that has a very strong grip on you. It could be a person, a habit, a desire. It could be anything with the Devil, and you are trying too hard to make it happen or to have this thing or person, and maybe it's resisting you or they are resisting you, and the more they're resisting you, the more obsessed you might get. And I know that Devil has a bad rap, and many consider it a difficult card, and in many ways it is. However, one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that under this influence, under this energy, you can do really well in the material world. With the Devil, you won't grow spiritually, you won't make inner progress or inner work. But if you want to make progress in the physical world, in the outside world, this is one of the cards that you want to see. So for you Aquarius, this is a week that your ambitions can come true, or you may find the way to make them come true in the coming months. And by the way, December seems to be particularly important. Another thing is that you may receive an offer or proposal that could be very tempting, but accepting this offer or proposal will require that you sacrifice something. Think of those stories of how the Devil can tempt someone by offering something they want badly, but asking for something very valuable in return, which means that no matter what deal you make sure it's a deal that does not compromise your integrity. Ask yourself if there's a possibility to regret that decision later, and if you feel uncertain or the answer is yes, explore why, and that could give you a very different view of the situation. In any case, I expect there will be some sort of test for you this week. For Pisces, we have the Sun. This week you will be in the spotlight in some way. Think of the sun and how it's the center of our solar system and the planets revolving around it. That's how this week will be for you. People revolving around you one way or another, and you will shine, you will stand out, and you will be noticed. This is a very favorable week to ask for what you want, to ask people to do you favors, as people will easily give you what you ask from them, more easily than in the last weeks at least. I expect some very pleasant moments that you will experience this week, positive vibes, especially around the weekend, and you will have a good time with friends or younger people. The sun is associated with youth, younger people, children. Such connections are especially favored under this influence. You had the King of Pentacles last week, and the King is much more serious and pragmatic and methodical, very focused on practical matters, money, all those things. But this week you will feel the need to have some fun, to visit places you love or people you love, and the vibe of this week will be very different, a very nice vibe, a pleasant feeling. And in connection with last week's King of Pentacles, the Sun is about finally seeing the value of what you did, as things become very clear. On the other hand, you should always be careful with this energy, not to overdo it, not to overextend yourself. It's like when you stay in the sun for too long, you get burned. So if you overindulge or overdo it with something, this energy can burn you in some way. Last week you had an earth card, so you are moving from the stability of the earth to the fire of this card, and that means things are getting more heated, more intense now. The cycle of the sun is 1 year, so it's possible that something that started 1 year ago will now be completed, or you may start something that will be finished next year around September or October. So these were the tarot horoscopes for this week. I hope you enjoyed the predictions, and I'll see you again next week.